Welcome to Season 1 of Gaming with Scott presents Stargate SG10, a Southgate Media production. Join us each week as our Stargate SG team follows a path of adventure and attempts to save the world and each other from the dangers of the universe. Starring Joshua Jackson, Kat Moran, Scott Troiano, and Cindy Bergen, with Scott Somerville running the table as Game Master. Epic adventures await just beyond this music. Count. There you go.
Well, do you want to do an intro and then?
Yeah, I'm going to do an intro and then I'm going to hand it over. I wanted to see who was going to jump on the silence first. It was you. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Gaming with Scott. I am here with Kat.
Hiya.
Josh.
What's up?
Cindy.
Hello.
I am Scott, and we are joined again, as always, with our Game Master, Scott, at the end of the table, and you're listening to Behind the Masks. I'm going to turn it over to the head guy at the front.
Good evening. Welcome to Stargate SG10, Behind the Masks. And this week we're going to go back to last game with an interesting incident that happened with Kat. But before I do, I want to give that incident a bit of context in case you haven't listened in on our last game. For you at home and the group around the table, I want to lay out six six-sided dice. And if you don't have any at hand, just do it in your head, because this is about the number 6. The first 6 came up about 6 weeks ago as I wrote this, with the conviction of Brock Turner on trial for rape. Brock Turner, 20 years old, former student at Stanford University and a former hopeful Olympic competitor. 6 weeks ago, Turner was convicted after his victim, just known as Emily Doe, spoke to the court and her assailant, who stood before her by... Can we start?
We'll edit that. Go ahead.
Who took her out behind a dumpster after she'd passed out at a party and penetrated her with his fingers. He might have gone further, except that he was spotted by 2 other students who tackled him when he tried to flee. Emily spoke of the rape and its aftermath, including how his assault had left her sleeping with the lights on like a 5-year-old. In her statement, she described how it felt after a long and intensive rape exam to finally be alone with herself. Quote, "I stood there examining my body and decided I don't want my body anymore. I was terrified of it. I didn't know what had been in it, if it had been contaminated, who had touched it. I wanted to take off my body like a jacket and leave it in the hospital with everything else." That brings us to the second 6. Brock Turner's father, Dan, also offered a statement, pleading for leniency. Quote, "His life will never be the one that he dreamed about and worked so hard to achieve. That's a steep price to pay for 20 minutes of action."
Bullshit.
Unquote.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that second 6. Turner was facing up to 14 years in prison. California prosecutors asked for 6 years. Judge Aaron Penske gave him 6. 6 months. Judge Persky, who is certainly no justice, explained that the harsher sentence would have a severe impact on him. It would be nice to think that the public outcry arising from this pathetic miscarriage of justice would have had some impact on Persky. It would be nice to think that this was an isolated incident in his career, but neither would be true. Apparently, Persky has this noted expectancy to be lenient with sexual offenders. Judge Persky's compassion for Turner and his contemptible lack of humanity for the victim brings us to the third 6. RAIN, the National Network for Rape and Abuse Cases, says that 1 woman in every 6 has been the victim of an attempted or completed sexual assault. Take a moment and think about that in terms of how many women you know. 1 in 6. That's not a big number at all. But the reality is that it's an actual, factual measure of the danger women face. For Emily Doe, it's a measure between the statistic and the reality, and the worth which Judge Persky gave to Emily's assault and the trauma she may carry throughout her life. That brings us to the fourth six. How many women do you know? Count 6 of them that you know and spend a moment to wonder how many of them are a silent statistic. That brings us to the fifth six. Because we would also like to think that Judge Aaron Persky is an anomaly in the justice system and that pretty much an anomaly to the human condition. But unfortunately, that's also not true. According to Rain, out of every 1,000 perpetrators of sexual assault, only 6 end up in prison. That brings us to the last 6. How angry are you about this situation 6 minutes into this program? If you're a woman, or if you're a man who cares about women, you should be furious that this ugly reality can be contained in so small a number. I think it's true that most people don't exist in a permanent state of anger. They can't. Though it's fair to ask what you will think about this in 6 days, 6 weeks, or 6 months from now. Because it's not about staying angry. Staying angry doesn't mean letting such things, which ought to make you angry, become acceptable. It does not mean accommodating yourself to such a reality. It means being aware and doing what you can, whenever you can, to stop it. And there you have it, laid out on 6-sided dice. You can see that sometimes 6 is far too small a number for comfort. As a postscript to this conversation, it should be noted that there is some justice, though perhaps with an awful twist. The events I'm describing happened some time ago now, so I had to backtrack for events. As of last week, Brock Turner was released from prison after serving 3 months with time off for good behavior. If there is a silver lining, it is this. The incandescent outrage at Turner's release has spurred California to enact legislation. You see, what Turner did was not previously, technically, considered rape in that state. California legislators are taking steps to ensure that's no longer true, and that a conviction will come with mandatory prison time. Meanwhile, the campaign to recall Judge Persky from the bench continues to gain momentum. Arguably, it's not justice, but it is progress towards justice in the future. If you haven't been turned in, you're going to wonder, why is this an appropriate topic for Stargate? Now, while I hope you may think about this in some larger sense than our game, I didn't pick this topic at random. This is an adult game, like we've been saying from the start. There hasn't been a lot of violence so far. There's not a lot of gunfire going on.
I didn't fire a gun.
Yet.
Well, yeah, you did.
It depends.
Different kind.
But it's fair to say that in the Stargate universe, the Goa'uld, a race of intelligent beings who take over and possess a victim's body entirely, leaving their host as a helpless spectator, are the ultimate rapists. This is the enemy the players face. With one notable exception, this isn't something the movie or the television show would focus on. In looking back, I don't think the full nature of the Goa'uld could be examined because it would have been too horrible to explore. You can give James Cameron's Alien series an R rating because the victims die horribly. But what does that say about Stargate, where the victims live in horror? This isn't something that our players have had to deal with yet. Still, it's important to understand that the Stargate universe has 2 ground rules. Rule 1 is that they're intelligent aliens who live by utterly possessing other intelligent beings as hosts. Rule 2 is that in Stargate, using the sarcophagus to prolong life has a side effect. It totally strips away any morals and ethics of the being using it. Think about what that means. We've just described human monsters. Not only are the Goa'uld invasive through their basic biology, but they have become monsters. You may also be asking if there's also Tok'ra Goa'uld who don't like what their species is going on and becoming by using the sarcophagus. Well, we'll see. But the thing that is clear from the start is that the Stargate universe is horrible. The monsters are real in the most literal and the most personal sense. And we can discuss those monsters a bit later. The difference in reaction between men and women at the table to the whole incident of the last game is what brings us here. So first I want to get back to that last session with Kat, where her reaction to being assaulted shocked the male half of the table. If you missed it, Kat was exploring Abydos on the outskirts of the city, where water was being pumped up from deep below the surface using water wheels powered by human labor. It's a practice used by the Romans to keep mines dry. And it's a hellish experience for those condemned to do it. And passing too near one of the convicted laborers, Kat had one of the prisoners lay hands on her, right before he was stabbed in the arm by an Ash, Kat's escort. The men at the table were kind of shocked that she was grabbed. Kat was astonished that the guy was stabbed. So here we have a great example. So Kat, what was going on in your head?
I don't remember, really.
All right, well, why did that surprise you, that he was stabbed?
It seemed like an escalation.
Okay.
I don't...
You didn't think it was proportional?
Well, why were you not fazed by the other end? The guy groped you, and that you were just sort of like, oh, okay, that happens.
It does happen.
And there's the crux of why the eyebrows on this half of the table are trying to crawl off the top of our heads. And I don't know if this is because I'm married or have been in relationships, or if it's a conversation that I had with one of the other people in the Marvel game, JC. I said, I don't see examples of these guys that like, well, I'm just going to reach out and grab a handful of any woman that walks by. Because my thought would be, if I did see one of those guys, we'd go over and have a conversation that would probably start with me slapping them upside the head. And how does because it's like, okay, where are these guys? Like, let's throttle those guys.
Bars.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Because I'm not
and
really.
There are a lot of ways to deal with it. You can just laugh it off. You can slap them. You can say, get uppity. That would be escalating, though.
I thought Josh
like Kat said, stabbing him was an escalation because to us that is so common a thing that it's just
if you're sitting on the bus or on the subway or something and some dude grabs your chest, you're not going to whip out a knife and stab him.
Yeah, that would
I
get
have
you
been
put
in places
jail.
in the world where that was not an escalation at all.
Yeah.
On the places that I've been, it is.
Yeah, but there's a great a cultural difference.
Yeah.
Well, then let me ask.
And it caught you off guard.
In our culture, getting stabbing someone is going to get you more, badness for yourself.
More trouble. Yeah.
Or you could just punch him in the throat.
It's going to get the cops on you. It's going to get you in jail, and he's going to get off.
He's already sitting in the bottom of a well.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. And what's the worst they're going to do to him?
Yeah.
Well, and then that becomes the question: is from the female perspective, is the primary goal to avoid escalation? I mean, it's already escalated to a point that your physical person was violated.
Yeah, but like Josh
that
said,
me is like,
if a guy grabs your chest and you punch him in the throat, if he's bigger than you, he's going to do a whole lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to choose your battles.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
True.
Good point. And that's just so that's where both sides went, wait, what? You would have done what? No. At the end of the last game, and there was a lot of discussion around how this immediately pertained to rape culture. Because in my personal opinion, and no one at the table needs to share this opinion, I believe we are firmly steeped in America in a rape culture. There are people out there that will try to explain it away, that will try to say, oh, no. Where do mansplainers get their water? From a well, actually. And it's bad, and it's accepted, and it's terrible.
And yet it's better than it's ever been. Consider that one.
Yeah. This is progress.
Sorry to lay that one on you.
Because it's just, I don't even know how to respond to that. Because the idea of, yes, it's better. I have a 10-year-old son and an 8-year-old daughter. And it is my job to teach my 10-year-old son that rape is bad. Like, don't rape other people, period. End of story. That's the end of that discussion. But on the flip side of that, I also have to teach my daughter not to walk through a parking garage alone, not to walk
You should teach your son that, too.
Yeah, I should.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's just, it's one of those where it's like, really? Can't we all just get along? What?
No, because people are stupid and they do stupid things.
Or because they are predators.
There's evil in the world. There's a lot of evil in the world.
You quiet, you.
I mean, if you believe in that
you're
sort of
right.
thing. There's a lot of entropy in the world for those out there who don't believe in that.
What? You're horrible, but you're wonderful.
I'm trying to help everybody.
I know. No, and I like to think the world's a better place, but it's not.
It's not just against females.
Yeah.
You know, it is also against guys too. Guys don't talk about it as much.
It does happen.
Yeah.
1 in 16
1 in 16?
on
Seriously?
campus. Yeah.
Wow. Now, and again,
Sexual harassment. Yeah.
I have a uniquely white male perspective. When I was over the Christmas of my 14th year, it's very funny. We went to Disney World. It was 1985, and I was shoulder height to my father. He had a good foot on me. By March, we were head to head. I had over that Christmas, I gained a foot and 100 pounds, and it was all muscle. And I went from literally 5 feet tall, 98 pounds. I was a 98-pound weakling. Woo! I went to 6 feet tall, 198. And I didn't worry about any of that. And I was, at that point, the premier predator on the block, as horrible as that sounds. I was never involved in it. My mother, and this is the horrible thing, you make statements like, well, my mother raised me right. Well, isn't everybody's mother raising them like? Okay, I understand that there are some people that don't have mothers, and there are orphans, and there are things. But you would think, like, your mom teaches you. This is where you learn these things, right? Your mother says, "Hey, quit that. Don't do that." Yes, no.
Oh, you mean doing the whole mentoring thing, taking you to swimming lessons?
If they're not
Brock
going
Turner?
to work every day,
Yeah. Well, and there's the thing. Yeah.
you know.
It comes down to free will and integrity.
But take a single mother, you know, upper class, you know, maybe she's a school teacher, she's got a wonderful job, she's got a kid, but she doesn't have any other support, you know, no one to help her raise her children or keep up the house. So it all falls on her to do everything.
And good luck
Something
with that.
can
Yeah.
slide.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially when being a teacher doesn't pay nearly as well as it should.
Yeah.
No,
I
teachers
blame
should make
technology.
more than doctors. You blame technology?
No, it's more complex than that.
See,
It's
because
not-
I agree.
let
It
me
takes
put
a
that in
village.
context.
It takes a village to raise a
Let me
child.
put that-
I
you know,
agree. Go ahead. Technology.
Things are getting better than they ever have been. But yet, at the same time, we have a culture where people are more tuned into the screen in front of them than the people around them.
or the person sitting next to them.
Where
Yeah.
they don't, they're less and less identifying with people as human beings.
Yeah.
And that's bad.
Very much so.
The Veldt by Ray Bradbury.
Yeah.
It's not just being a troll on the internet. You're dehumanizing another human being. And when you're dehumanizing and objectifying a person, that
Well-
leads to bad consequences.
Not only that, but like, you know, say the video games. What are they? You know, shoot them or, you know.
Well, we watched a
Take
coyote.
advantage of
She's
them.
right.
Yes,
I
yes,
mean,
but
you know,
but we
Kat will
watched
verify this.
we
I mean,
watched a roadrunner drop an anvil on a coyote
Yeah.
every Saturday for hours on end, and
Yeah,
that
and that's
didn't make
bad.
us drop anvils on
You
anybody.
contrast that with England.
Yeah, but that's non-reality. Games
Contrast that with Europe,
today are so real. Sorry.
where they'll show sex on TV, but
Oh,
they
yeah.
won't show violence.
Right.
And that's generational. And it's made a huge difference in how their culture approaches things.
No, it's the South Park movie. You can show all the violence you want, just don't say a dirty word or show any sex.
Yeah, but Cindy's right.
Puritanism,
You know,
Puritanism, that's what you're describing.
compartmentalization of violence is a bad thing. You know, that's what they did in the death camps. They shut it in a mental box.
And this is a voluntary box. You know, people like seeing the blood fly when they, you know, hit their target
Oh, yeah.
in a game.
Well, yeah.
Or people like seeing a buxom, almost naked woman that's theirs
Yeah.
to do with whatever they want.
But
And
You
that
say that
makes
like
it,
it's a bad thing.
yeah. Well, that's what it can lead to.
As long as you realize she's still a people.
Yeah. As long you did say it's theirs, but
As long as you realize she's still a people, and as long as she gets to do her yum. If that's her yum,
all right.
great. But if that's like not her yum, then now we have a problem.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
what do you all know about the Goulds so far?
We blew one up. Victory! End of game.
Cindy.
They're considered to
She
be gods
said
by
Cindy.
their
Followers.
chattel.
Worshippers.
And
Chattel's a good word. Nice vocabularized.
It's that Thesaurus.
They're terrified of the gods. So they
no,
know
no.
that.
Let's stick with the Gould.
That's
You
what I
said
mean.
one thing that was very key. One of anything's no good.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you go with that? What do you know about the species? Extemporize.
Okay, the species is biological, probably mammalian. Eyes, heart, brain. They need air.
But it can
To
get
breathe.
inside a human being.
Yes,
So it's a
parasite.
And what does that say generally about a species' tendencies?
Well, a parasite has no concern for its host. It's not.
It's not symbiotic.
Yeah,
Symbiotic.
Exactly. It's not symbiotic. It's basically. I can't find the word. It basically wants to use it and toss it aside.
And how does that square with what you've seen on Abydos so far?
That seems.
Well, they come every 10 or 12 years for the
Put
kids.
they harvest the children and the young adults, and the people are terrified of that. And, it's probably for new meat suits.
So the picture you have evolving is what?
Aside from they're bad and they need to
Yeah,
be
aside from-
exterminated.
Well, you've just discovered there's more than
There's
one.
more than one.
So what do you think you're facing as a threat? I mean, you've
species.
already reported this stuff, so
A species.
what have you laid out for General Hammond?
Oh, a handful of twitchy, narcissistic that probably didn't come over nearly as well as it needed to be. I didn't slow down. I don't think I actually took a breath. I needed to outline that a lot better. But I need to talk with these two a little bit more because I'm not still... They've talked about other finger quotes.
You're still busy
gods.
causing a holy war.
Right. Right. That's exactly what I'm doing. And until I have proof that there are other gods, they do not exist.
No, you can't do that. You can't think
Oh,
like
I
that.
can. I can. But
Well, yeah, you can.
But it's not going to end well.
It's
That's not-
agnostic. It's all good.
That's going to lead to a losing scenario
I hope not.
with us losing and them destroying us.
No, that just means the
And
ostrich
by
gets
us,
sand in his
I
ears.
mean genocide.
That's not good.
No,
Let's avoid
that's not
that.
good.
Okay, we'll avoid that. All right.
Hope for the
Not
best,
happy with
prepare
that.
for the worst.
Right.
Assume there are other gods.
That's what. No. Well, other than Mo,
Well, yeah.
right?
Jesus.
And what?
Nothing.
No, not that one.
No, not that one. The other one. The almighty Mo. And there it is. Yeah. So, there it is. So we're probably likely going to need to have that conversation of, there are more of them, because it could be that this is a mated pair, and it could be the last mated pair. I'm clutching to that hope.
With 6 different names.
Sure.
Yeah, whatever.
Why not? Yahweh, Jesus.
The thing is,
Joshua.
Yeah.
if it's a mated pair, the male has been
I'm going to have to hurt
destroyed.
you a lot more.
The female is still out there. She could be pregnant and therefore continuing
Yeah.
the species.
Red would say, kill them all, let the paramedics sort them out. Literally.
And my hope is that she didn't get knocked up before he got blued up, and then we're happy. We only got one to take care of. Yay. Yeah. No? Okay.
No.
I
This
would be hoping.
optimism in a company great officer.
Right? It's just, you cannot stand for this.
Optimism is nice, but optimism will not save the species.
Trust yet verify. Yes, I understand.
It's like Gimli from Lord of the Rings. Small chance of success, certain death. What the hell are we waiting for?
Yeah, we need to do this right now. All right.
I hate dwarves.
So,
Okay,
what?
out of
Dwarves are
character.
wonderful. Yes.
What would you compare the Posleen to Scott? I mean, would you compare them to the Posleen?
It's possible.
The what?
So the Posleen are Ringo.
John Ringo.
John Ringo writes this Aldonada book where the Posleen are this hive. They're your Tyranids. They're your insects, starship troopers. They go from planet to planet to planet. They strip all the resources. They kill all. They eat all the people, and then they move on to the next, and they take over this territory. What is it? Tulo Stenanor comes down. They have a series of these books on how the humanity fights the Posleen and the different. And there are two other races which are side to that. But then they have this book I think is it 3 books or 2 books?
Oh, there's more.
Oh, they come up with more. Great.
Yeah.
Where it's from the point of view of the hive. And it's this really interesting tribal, like who's above who. And,
They're Mongols.
they're Mongols, absolutely. And it gives you this point of view, like, okay, well, the Posleen we're just here to take. I mean, they hatch at such a large rate that they need to take over like arms of galaxies to sustain their numbers. Yeah, and that they grow at such a fast rate because they hatch clutches of eggs. Mm-hmm. And we're talking, 20, 40, 80 young at a go. And then it's
that's nothing compared to some of the Earth animals.
Right. And it was just, but these are like 2.5 times the size of a grown man. And then there's 80 of them. Go! Well, I don't have
It's
that
basically
much
a
ammo.
reptilian centaur, and it's carnivorous.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. It's really, really. How would I would say that they would be less. I find them less offensive than the Goa'uld, primarily, again, like you said.
Why is that?
Oh, because, sure, they jump onto a planet and field strip it. Okay, fine. I have the same problem with the Goa'uld that I had with the Borg. That's why the Daleks
Assimilate.
the Daleks are not as big a problem. The Daleks will just kill you. The Posleen will just eat you. The Borg and the Goa'uld, no, they'll shove you to the back of your own head and make you watch.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's just horrific. Mm-hmm. And it's like
As opposed to being eaten alive.
Eaten alive once,
Yeah.
and then we're done.
Eaten
2 minutes.
alive, there's an end to the pain and the horror.
Thank you.
Yeah, but the Posleen and the Goa'uld, both intelligent species,
Oh yeah, that are doing this on purpose.
both aggressive species, both territorial species.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. I think they just go about the ends by different means. And to be perfectly honest, I find the Goa'uld's means for their
There's a
individual
difference.
host to be far more frightening.
There's a difference, though. From what you're telling me, the Posleen,
Possibly, yeah.
they strip everything. They annihilate it, devour it, whatever. There's an end. With the Goa'uld, they cultivate.
Yeah.
They cultivate sentient creatures so they can take them over.
Yeah,
And
it's bad.
that's worse.
That's my thought. And
Okay.
again, it is that violation. If you shoot me, I'm dead. If you eat me, I'm dead.
Yeah.
If you violate me over and over and over, and then especially use a sarcophagus, that's horrific.
So, other end of the spectrum, aliens. James Cameron's Aliens.
Giger.
Horrific looking.
Yeah.
Horrific in aspect. Incredibly violent. And earlier this evening, you made a very interesting comment about villains being more threatening to you if they're violent. So, what's your perspective on this in this context?
Well, the Goa'uld and the aliens have similar they both
They are
cultivate
both essentially
you.
they're both essentially
they're
parasitic.
parasites. They both of them cultivate themselves inside of a person's body. But the Goa'uld are worse, again, because they stick your mind back where you can't do anything but watch, and they, go about doing their perversions.
So are you reversing your opinion of earlier this evening?
No, because I like the bloody stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, this is going to
Kat,
go high
your
with the
thoughts.
Dr.
Jaws
Burrell.
dripping, acid. Yeah, that's good.
I think I'd pretty much have to agree with everyone else. You're eaten, you're murdered, you're otherwise annihilated. It's done. It's over. But if you're not in control of your body and you just have to sit and watch what someone else is doing and is forcing you to do, that's just, it's so much worse.
The only thing that's worse is if they could force you to do it. To not only sit back and watch, but to be an active participant. And that they could control your mind to the point where you're enjoying and participating and doing all these horrific things that would just disgust you if you were in your right mind.
Well, and that comes back to that most frightening of takes is the line in the original Stargate movie when Daniel Jackson sits back up and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm alive. How did that work? And Ra looks at him and goes, why do you think I chose your species? Your bodies are so easy to repair. And it was just like, oh, so he's been doing this for thousands of years. Oh, that was horrible. Yeah, it was terrible.
But, and you and I discussed this, Scott, there was really only one episode of the TV series where they even tried to touch on this. And you know what it is?
Mm-hmm. The Death of Apophis.
Yeah. During that episode, the Goa'uld inside the human host passed away, but the human was still alive. I don't know if anybody else...
Yep.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was in the...
I'll kill the host.
Yeah, the human, the Goa'uld part dies, and the human who has been being oppressed for 2,000 years comes out and is just like, it was the most horrible thing. I remember it all, and I need to die. And it was just, they touched on it lightly, and it got real emotional real quick. But it was that whole, like, I've done horrible, horrible things. And at what point do you become, even as the passenger, unable to separate what you did?
But that's the thing. He still had a conscience. He was still...
You don't come back. You don't come back from that trauma.
He was asking to die.
Yeah.
He was asking for an end. Okay? He hadn't succumbed.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But still, at the end, he was just like, I've done horrible things, and it's terrible. And
Exactly.
the waters have to muddy at some point. And I mean, we're talking decades of therapy. I mean, it was just bad.
And I still don't think they really came close to doing it justice.
Oh, I don't think they did, but it was one of those where you as the viewer had to go, wait, hold on. Carry the one. Oh, my God. That's terrible.
Take Bessie out to the back 40. Put a bullet in her.
Oh, yeah.
So for the listeners at home, this is the villain our players are facing.
We got one of them. We just need to get the other one, and then we're fine. Right, Doc? Don't shake your head.
We're like big.
Sorry, Doc is also a veterinarian, so she knows a little bit more about biology and about the way, nature works.
Okay, fine. So if I catch you one, then you can prove there aren't any others, right?
You're going to need it.
Yeah, we're big game hunting. Just need a bigger gun.
Yeah. We're going to need a bigger boat. I can tell you how that works. This is
Yeah.
great.
You found one.
Yeah. We're gonna go back to the. Speaking of aliens, I'm glad you brought that one up. We should nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Burn
They're
with
not
fire.
here yet that we
they-
know of.
They will be.
Or they could already
They will
be
be.
here.
They will be.
We haven't explored enough yet.
Mark.
Well, I mean,
7.
we did agree to go on a certain journey.
Yes,
we
we
might
did.
find a site to nuke from orbit.
There we go.
Did you forget
Either
they
that
they
or a
signed us up for the
base
ferryman?
or a base to start a resistance from.
Either
'Cause-
one, possibly both.
Yeah.
Why do we want to resist? I don't want to resist.
Resistance is futile.
Just want to nuke them, right?
Well, don't you want all the riches?
We're going to get that anyhow.
Not if you nuke them.
Touche.
She just gave me the "you're an idiot" face for nuking them. It was
Refresh the
amazing.
players
What'd you say?
with your orders.
With my orders?
Your orders.
We were going to be back, and they were supposed to hold the fort and not leave.
And
Way to go, ladies! And they immediately went, "Hey, look, he's out of sight. Let's go."
No.
You don't. Spread
Your
the
original objectives were
Oh, well, I'd have to look that up. God damn.
Promote peaceful relations.
Yeah, that was one of them. Check. Done. Replace their god with an done.
Working on it.
Working on it. Hang on. Let me get that. Was so long ago. Up. Where'd that piece of paper go? Where's the paper? I think I've got it. Is that it?
I still have my list of everything I've got.
Nope, that's not it. Thought I had it. Nope, that's not it. This is great for radio. This is the best radio ever. So now, for those of you that are wondering, there's this little thing in the biz, because you guys didn't know the lingo that I'll explain to you, that while one guy's looking something up, there's this thing called vamping. And vamping is where you kind of talk about a topic that's sort of related, but it's not really related, and all you're really doing is talking to fill airspace.
So we could talk about like how cute the Goa'uld in the movie was.
Yes. Rob, did you think he was cute? I thought they were going for androgyny type kind of...
I thought it was cute. He was beautiful.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
It was a good casting choice.
Yeah. Very.
So from the ladies on the other side of the room, you'd hit that? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean, mine is the evil overlord part, but yeah.
No. It's the whole package. You gotta go for the
Nobody's
whole-
perfect. You
Right.
gotta love
Everybody's
them for
Hey!
them.
Some people have a hobby. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm like, really?
he had a great place.
Genocidal tendencies.
He did have a great place, and he took it with him, so it wasn't like,
You know what? Sometimes it's easier to kill the evil if you're really close to them.
Oh, see, now I'm going to get to keep your enemies closer.
Have you heard Matahari?
So when I...
But he puts the toilet seat down.
So, what's
I
your
mean,
name?
that is a huge plus.
Yeah.
You have no idea how rare that is to find.
I know. Killed a couple generations of people.
Because you have
Vamping.
no nerves in the back of your legs. Is that how that works? Because I imagine there are many times that I go into the restroom in the middle of the night, and I prefer not to have to worry about sonar. That's what us gentlemen call it. When we hear the sound of the water and then porcelain and then floor, and they're like, whoa, 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 and we got to go back to okay. I prefer not to engage the sonar. So I turn around and have a seat because it's simpler from time to time. I'm secure in my own sexuality. I can admit this. What I do is I stand up a little taller. My legs go back a little bit, and I actually feel porcelain and then a seat. And then I know I can sit down.
This is him covering for not having his orders.
Yes, I've got my orders right in front of me.
There's also
They're on the
a thing
piece of
called a
paper
light.
right there.
So,
Yeah, well, I don't want to turn on the light.
come on.
It's like the middle of the night. What do you want to do that for?
Confess.
So are you telling me that you just don't look, or that you don't feel, or because if you got the light, that's two ways you could find out if the seat was up or down before you just pop a squat and go, water.
Well,
Depends on
you
where
know
I am.
what? If you live
That gives-
alone, that's not an issue because you know exactly what's
Right,
going
but she's
on.
obviously not
True
talking about that. She's obviously not talking about that. And I'm getting this look, the same look of, you don't know how nice it is to put the seat down. And I'm like, you know what? Seriously? You can't figure out the state of the seat? It's a Boolean.
Gravity's working in your favor. You can just put it back down when you're done.
And you're right. The gravity's working in your favor. Then putting it down is not such a burden. You can. It's already on the way down if you just give it a little.
You know that
you just
any
give it a
other
little thing.
topic.
You're giving
that
me
we
the
were gonna
stop
talk
sign, and
about?
that's not going to happen. I'm executive order. I'm overruling.
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't been to enough of these to know that he
Yeah.
wears that look a third of the time. Just trust me, it'll be okay. So no, but I'm plumbing those depths because that having two women
Let's talk
is
about
a thing.
Nazis. Nazis would be a better topic.
Nazis probably left the toilet seat up too.
Mother.
Now I'm being maligned. You are with them. You are.
Whoa!
You
no.
are-
I am for the greater good, sir. I don't know where that is.
Never
right
been
now.
pushed
Right
into
over
traffic
here.
like that.
You have too. I'm gonna throw it in reverse. So you don't keep it up. Anyway, so Nazis.
So I was just wondering about the whole toilet seat. Okay, 2, commanding officer, SG10. Upon assembly of your team, you are hereby ordered to 1, Complete final briefing of the U.S. military and civilian persona to comprise your unit, hereafter designated SG10 under provision AFC120-43.9er, U.S. Spacecom revision 12/94. Hey, he said that he wanted these read. 2, conduct supplemental coordination briefings with the independent U.S. government contractor personnel employed to develop indigenous conditions. That would be Turnus. Little Miss Muffy.
Where did they go?
They were over by the mine. We checked the mine on the way out. They're not there anymore.
Like I said,
I don't know where they went, and I'm really nervous about
were there
that.
any tracks?
No.
Did we investigate?
It's
sand.
almost
Yeah,
like
you're not
they
going to
got
find a whole lot of tracks left.
it's almost like they got picked up by more of those things that I think there's only one of. This is perhaps evidence. Shh, quiet you.
Or they left us for dead.
I don't want to know about that. No, because they didn't come back to the base either. I checked that. They didn't come home. So they're somewhere on the planet still. We don't know. They are up to no bleeping good. Okay, and that's the problem. And trigger
This is your
happy.
first
I know
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
I never fired a shot of that gun.
Safety was off.
Safety zone.
Well, shots fired later, but
Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna do right.
I wonder if they were blanks.
You're
Even
see,
better.
and that even
Don't
better.
need triplets over here. We're okay.
See,
Gonna
and now,
walk that one off.
now that would be good because then I could turn to the doctor and go, "Why, doctor, you were correct. Nature finds a way." Okay. 3, deploy your team to Abydos, where under independent command you will. 3.A, reestablish contact with the indigenous population and assess local conditions with same. 3.B, I would have thought these had been 3.number, but that's just me. Provide, does the Air Force usually use number.letter?
I scored 98% in pen and quill. Yep.
Oh, there it is. Now we know. Look at that. Little known facts about our storyteller. Provide ongoing assistance to contracted government personnel with establishing proactive relations with indigenous population. 3.C, conduct extended planetary surveys to develop a full and developed picture of local conditions, which is why we're going to take our trip later to over the River Styx. 3.D, where and as possible, discover and assess resources and technology in keeping with national security interests. 3.D.1, based upon assessment, acquire or document said items, assets, or resources in such fashion as best serves local interests, balanced against national security.
Yep.
Balanced against national security.
Yeah, well, we've already gone through that one.
3.E, promote positive, peaceful relations with the local population.
And you blew through that one.
I did not. We've been nothing but peaceable. Look at Red. He got a piece and a half.
I blew. Hey, and I will correct you, sir. I blew through that one.
And notably, the you will do right behind that woman
Or in
and
front.
in front of her. That was the absolute best.
I'm gonna get shot in the head.
I heard that again when I was going to. I was like, "Which one was this?" So I jumped in the middle because in the middle there's
Only
this
if you
spot
piss
where
her off.
right where we all bust out laughing, and I'm like, "What is that?" And that's when he says, "I want you to do right behind that woman," and without missing a beat, and in front of her. I was like, "And we're done." Number 4. All operations are classified as compartmental, top secret / cosmic under UCMJ 48-1701.65, revision 12/94, signed M. General G. Hammond SGC / U.S. Spacecom. So you asked if I had my orders. I believe I do.
Now ask him if his character has a phone like that to keep him on.
Not in 1995. Well, maybe as part of the Air Force, I do.
Where's your equipment list?
Right now. Yeah, that was
Tiny
my question.
steno pad.
You've spent some time with Quartermaster. Where's your equipment list?
Did you not get the email that I sent this afternoon?
No.
Boom. Next question.
Let me see yours.
Let me see mine.
Yeah.
Hang on.
What are you taking?
Hang
You
on.
spent time with the Quartermaster. What are you taking?
Hang on. Whoops. Hold on. Again, riveting radio. Vamping is a good thing. I do not have it here. It's on the email I sent from home. My apologies. I do not have it on this phone.
All right.
So it should be in your inbox, but that's fine. Anyhow.
There's a thing called syncing email accounts.
Yeah. Well, and I can't
Overrated.
get it to work with Comcast because,
Comcast is special. So.
well, they're the devil. Is that what you were trying to say?
Yes.
We're not looking
Yeah.
for a Comcast. What do they call those? Where they pay us money to do stuff? Sponsors? Yeah, we're not getting Comcast as a sponsor because they suck, and because if they could figure out the technology to listen to this podcast about how I'm bad mouthing them, maybe we'd consider it. But I can say whatever I want, and I know that the monkeys that work there are just going to be like, oh, and they'll never hear this.
And that would require their internet actually working.
Right? Exactly.
Well, that's okay. If you want any type of sponsorship, you're not going to want to talk to the technical monkeys.
Well, right. Well,
Talk to the
They just fling
marketing
poop.
monkeys.
well, they aren't any better. So, like, we got this thing for Xfinity One in the mail, and you couldn't tell. It's like, get Xfinity One. It's got stuff, and there are things, and you want both of those. All
Only
right.
if there's whatnots as well. Otherwise, no deal.
Well, and that's what I was like. Okay, well, what stuff and what things? And you said DVR. What is the hell?
Electrolytes. It's what plants crave.
It's what plants crave, right? And I'm going, what? And I'm going, what? And I couldn't tell. There was like a trifold. It was all pretty, and I couldn't tell what they were trying to sell me. It wasn't more channels. It wasn't more stuff. It was just things and stuff and whatnots. And I went, only you're right. They didn't have the whatnots. So it was like,
Right. See, no
And
deal.
they
unless
probably
there's whatnots.
forget
didn't.
this.
Yeah.
It was
Whatnots
horrible.
include routers that work on the second floor like 30 feet away.
No,
No.
No, they can't do that.
no, because it doesn't work that way.
No, that's black magic and Jesus territory. They don't do that.
Wow.
I guess Jesus.
Did the
is
static
black
just stop
magic.
completely? Nice.
What?
Talk
Static?
About, talk about
Black
Jesus
magic and
zombie and it
Jesus.
works.
Jesus zombies, and our necromancers are strong. It's a beautiful thing.
Walking Dead.
All right. So have we covered everything you wanted to cover here?
No email.
No email?
No email.
Oh, snap.
Didn't
Oh,
happen.
snap. All right.
So at a guess, what are you taking?
Did you check your junk folder?
At a,
Yeah, check your junk.
at a guess, we've already been over that back and forth on that road. That road has already been paved. There's been exit signs put up. We're all good. I want to take full water gear. I want to take full camping gear, extra ammo. I want to take a map and terrain surveying. Will you give me a map?
Malp.
Like they had it in episode 1. Like,
Can we get a go-kart?
You're not at episode 1 yet.
no, I meant in the movie. Did they had it in the movie? They moved it through in the thing. It was packed up. It was
Okay,
like
yeah, great. It'll move around like the Mars rover. In a
couldn't
couple
care
of
less.
years, you'll get up the hill.
Oh, whatever.
We're still in like the
Morphine,
mailroom. That sucks.
antibiotics, nitrile gloves.
Yeah, you have your
assorted
list.
gauze
We already
bandages.
humped all your crap over to the other thing.
Was it?
We have.
cowboy hat, harmonica, knives.
I mean, I want
gun,
full. I want
water.
full body armor. I want because there are more of these things. Can I get a Mark V?
Yes.
Look at him. His head came up with this smirkish smile of like, maybe I'll let you kill yourself with one of those.
Raggy.
Mark V
I also have a
Mark
gun
V
which I'm not
tactical
very
nuclear
good with.
weapon.
No.
All right, Mark IV.
We need practice.
Yeah.
We're not greedy.
According to you, there's no more problem.
Right, but I want to be prepared. You keep asking me for lists. Give me lists of stuff. When I have to make lists, I know my mother's going to yell at me.
No,
That's
you
what
are
that
not an air
translates
combat
into.
controller. You cannot have a backpack nuke.
Oh, well, that's what I was going for. I was going to be like, this is totally cool. And then I
think
chuck it
I'm
in the
lying?
rings.
What?
Right?
No.
Hey.
Right? He's not lying.
Tech Monkey wants
He
your
might
attention.
not have a nuke, but I've got enough stuff
To do
in
something
my
fun.
in my medicines that I can cook up something
It's like,
nice.
ooh, anthrax. Well,
Low, high, I don't care. I just want a nuke. He won't give me one. Anyhow.
Cure for anthrax.
so selfish.
Yeah.
Christmas.
I'm not to the point where I want tranquilizer guns yet, but I know we're going to get there. I want large zoo chains and tranquilizer guns because we're going to have to capture a ghoul. That's how that's going to go down. I know it's going to. We're going to use Mo as bait. I mean distraction, and then when they go over there, I'm going to have the doctor leap. I say. That was for Moist Fun Lipfig and the whole post office crew there. The doctor will leap into action. Tranks out, chains go, and then we're going to bring one home.
So
to
you're
Earth.
taking a variety of camping gear and non-lethal weapons.
Yeah, because you won't give me more ammo,
I
No.
have one gun.
I got guns and knives. No, they're
You've
like,
got plenty
pistol.
of ammo.
right? And guns to go with the ammo. It's not
You've
just
got guns.
we're not going to do the Polish machine gun. Everybody grab a bullet and one guy get a ball peen hammer and run down the line like that, right? Okay. good.
Survival gear.
Yeah. Full, what?
I've got a shovel in one of my packs.
Well, yeah. No, full camping
Can we just
gear,
take a Finn with a sniper rifle?
I don't have a sniper rifle. But I don't sniper.
You don't need a sniper. We need a Finnish guy with a sniper rifle. That's all we need.
There's
okay.
no snow here.
Right? He'd stick out in his little parka.
Yeah.
Hey,
I guess.
He'd stroke. He'd be dead in 2 days.
You don't screw with the fins.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. So, barring that I didn't memorize what I was going to send you or what I was going to ask for.
That's okay. The thing I was wondering if you'd take, you haven't taken. So.
Water. I mentioned a lot of that already. Okay. Water rehydration tablets. She pointed out the urine purification tablets that just made me go, "Bleh." But I guess we would have to have some.
Either that or Mr. Coffee.
Right, right. Fill it to the rim with brim. It's the morning.
Hey, sunscreen is definitely vital around here.
Yeah.
Moist towelettes.
I've got some of those too, and
Boom.
they actually have alcohol on them.
Ooh. That's not good for the skin.
Filter it, get drunk.
Oh, you're horrible. Okay. Well, then I haven't named the one mythical thing that you're going to screw us with, and that's fine. I'm good with that.
Okay.
All right.
We'll remember that you said that.
Yeah. Oh, I had to listen to the piece on Independent Command again because I released that on Friday, this last Friday, and I realized as I'm listening to it that he is just ticking off and this is how you're going to screw yourself, and this is how you're going to screw yourself, and that's how you're going to screw yourself.
So
And I'm
let's get to it.
All right, let's get to it.
get to the
I asked
screw.
if he covered everything we wanted to cover. Now it's your turn to ask him.
We done yet?
I'm done.
Oh, now I'm done. Now we're done yet.
Let's
Okay.
go.
So we were wrapping this up. I was amazed to see the difference in the table in the response to versus escalation versus physical boundaries versus rape culture, and it was something we wanted to talk about. And it's a non-trivial thing that is tempers flare and things go crazy quick and people get off the deep end. But it is something that I think is pertinent to the game we play in, and it's pertinent to our outlooks that we all want to stave that off, and it's one of the reasons why we've all signed up to fight the Goa'uld.
There's one thing we haven't talked about that maybe we should next time, and that's how do you fight mentally and emotionally something that horrible?
The Spanish Inquisition.
Nobody expects that.
There's
you
different
don't,
ways.
You don't fight that,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
you can.
Not
you
well.
absolutely can.
No, you can.
Yes.
But
Okay, and to wrap up, thank you for listening to Behind the Mask. 2 caveats. First of all, if you've not read John Ringo's Postlean series, really worth your time. Very good writer.
Very
Watch
much
on
so.
the Rhine. Excellent book.
Excellent book. That book made me crazy. Like, what? Okay.
Second caveat. Have our players followed their homework and watched Tony Robinson's Gods and Monsters?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Good watch.
But I did
You have.
several
no,
years
I'm
ago,
lying through my teeth. I didn't. I'm
like
sorry.
probably 20.
Well, that's okay. We now know what's going to happen to Josh.
Oh,
So, Tony Robinson, wonderful guy. You might be familiar with him as Baldric on the Blackadder series.
He also has a great Walking Through History series.
Walking Through History series. The voice of the Terry Pratchett Discworld novels.
Yeah.
And
Wonderful.
yes, Tony Robinson's Gods and Monsters, Volume 5, Gods.
Okay. And as always, you'll hear from us real soon. Bye. Thank you for listening. And that's it tonight for us on the Gaming with Scott Presents Season 1 of Stargate SG10. You can always send us an email at gamingwscott@gmail.com or catch us on Twitter. Joshua Jackson is at ActionJack853 and me, Scott T, at GamingWScott. You can always find us on Facebook at facebook.com/GamingWScott. This is a Southgate Media production. Remember, we all represent Earth every time we venture out into the world and beyond. Be the example you want to see. And as always, you'll be hearing from us real soon.